Riddle me this, riddle me that. How's your energy? Are you feeling like crap? Want to feel better? To become the real you? Balance your chakras. It starts with Het-Heru. The Alpough Show is in the know. The human spirit experiment starts now. Welcome to Alpough, everybody. Alpough Show, in the know, the human spirit experiment. To give you great experience. This is what it's about. But remember this, your spirit, we're always experimenting to what? To get better. What's the saying? You're either getting better or you're getting worse. And on this show, what we want to do is we want to be getting better. And today is Wednesday, and this means we have Het-Heru today. And I am very excited to have her here. And I hope you are too. We had over 2,000 views last week when we did it. That was just for the first show. We were really looking forward to talking a little bit more about chakras and balancing your life. Everything is about balance. You know, some things you want to overdo and some you want to underdo. Like, for example, you should always overlove yourself, okay? You should also over-communicate it's better to over-communicate than it is to under-communicate. And that's why it's very important on learning all these different things that are so important. So, without further ado, let's bring in Het-Heru.
Hi, Michael. I love those words at the poetry that you did at the very beginning. That was good.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. I did it for you.
I could tell.
Yes. How are you doing today?
I'm wonderful. I'm wonderful. It's a beautiful day here. You know, I live in Las Vegas, and so we haven't gotten our heat yet, which is nice. It's a little bit on the chillier side, but that works for me.
So in Vegas, in the summertime, do we call you Het-Heru now?
You would think, huh?
Okay.
Oh, that's the only time I don't like Vegas. No, it's triple digit weather. But it's, people are always surprised that of all places I could have moved to, having spent most of my life in LA,
Right.
I would have come here. But I'm not as locals, as we're called. We don't hang out on the strip. There's a whole other community and a whole other life, and a very spiritually based life that exists outside of what goes on the strip there.
Right. I have quite a few friends out there that moved there. And they I actually have a friend of mine. I've forgotten. They have a yoga center.
Here.
Yes.
Oh.
Yes. I don't know the name of the actual center, but
what's your friend's name? Maybe I've
let's see, there's Shane. What's Shane's last name? I'm sorry. I just had a brain fart.
I understand.
Dana K is the one there you go, Mike. Thank you. See, I get that. Dana K is the lady who does yoga, and her boy, and she's with her boyfriend, but she's the one who does it. I'll find out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll find out.
All right.
Yeah, find out the yoga center. I'd love to have her on too. Anyway, today we're going to start talking, and we're going to talk about the second chakra here. And so what's the name? Is this the name of it?
Well, it depends upon what language you're speaking. If it's English, it's the second or navel chakra. If you're speaking Sanskrit, it's Spadhisthana, but generally most folks know it as the navel chakra or second chakra.
We speak English here, lady. We don't even know.
Hey, let me tell you an experience I had. Back in the 70s, I got a phone call from one of the members of the Bolshoi Ballet Company. The gentleman did not speak English. He spoke French and Russian, of course. He wanted to take private lessons with me. He wanted to study with someone who had studied with Indra Devi. And so when he came, he would speak French to me, which I don't speak. And finally, I said to him in English, I said, Ivan was his name, Ivan Smeltsov. I said, Ivan, I don't speak French. I don't speak um, Russian. I would just soon you spoke Russian to me. That would be, something unusual. So from that point on, he would speak Russian. I would speak English, but the one common language we had was Sanskrit. Because if I said to him, we're now going to do a headstand, well, he didn't speak English. So, that didn't mean anything. But he knew the asana from his Sanskrit name. So I could say, well, we're doing Shirsh asana, and that he would know what I was talking about.
Well, let's go into this because I think the last week, just in review, you were talking about the root chakra, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is the base of the system. So for those who didn't tune in last week, just a quick brief thing on what we talked about last week as we go into the second one.
Okay. First of all, I hope folks are noticing that neither Michael or I pronounce the word as chakra. That is not the correct pronunciation. It is chakra. Chakra. And I remember
chakra.
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 Like you.
Like I said at first. Okay.
Yeah, and exactly. And I remember, okay, again, I have my yoga studio. All of a sudden, I'm listening to my students saying something like chakra. And I called my yoga teacher, who, Indra Devi, spoke over 13 languages. Some were from India, some were from China, amongst the other languages that she spoke. I said, Mataji, I said, I'm hearing my students say chakra instead of chakra. And she says, no, darling, because she was Russian born. No, darling, it's chakra. And if you know any of the words, like some of the moon in Sanskrit, you'll hear Chandra. It's not pronounced Chandra, it's Chandra. Or the bread that they eat, chapati. They don't say chapati, they say chapati. So the correct pronunciation is chakra with a hard CH and not chakra. Sorry about that. Anyway, so what we talked about was the purpose of the chakra. The word itself, Sanskrit word, means wheel, and the wheel is a vortex of energy. We as a spiritual being communicate. We take energy from the spiritual side and we ground it into the earthly side, and the communication centers for this are called chakras. They're vortexes of energy. The word chakra again means wheel. The chakra that we talked about was the base chakra, and that it is the holder of what is known as the spiritual energy known as Kundalini. The earlier practices of yoga, the emphasis was on opening the chakras so that one can rise into a higher level of spiritual understanding. And that was rooted in the Piscean teachings, the time of the Piscean influence, where we reached out to we sought gurus, which are the spiritual teachers, one who lead us from darkness to light, the gurus, and we followed what they taught. But we have now entered into the Aquarian age, and in the Aquarian age, it is the recognizing our own divinity. We as the divine being operating in life, and part of our purpose is to assist with the planet itself toward becoming sacred. And so therefore there's a lot of uprooting, a lot of what we think of as crazy times, but we beings chose to be a part of this. And as you said earlier, which I like, that we can either assist in that growth by growing within ourselves or not. Or there's an old saying that we used to use back in the 70s, you're either part of the solution or part of the problem. So,
right. You're either getting better or worse.
That's how you said it. That's right.
Yeah. It's like, and so it is a plan that we all have to make. And this is part of the reason why I want Het-Heru here is to add to your plan, give you tools.
That's correct.
Your spiritual tools. Yeah. So you got a toolbox.
Okay? That's true.
And so we're putting chakra in to your toolbox. So you'll first of all know about it. Okay. And so what I'm feeling here is that a lot of people have hit a wall or in a stall. They're in a literal stall. Okay. And part of that is their creativity. And so
Mhm.
let's go into the second chakra and begin this process of explaining what the second chakra means.
Okay, so when I lived in LA, um, because of the nature of LA, there's so many creative people there in the arts, because we're all creative people. We're either creating what we want or creating what we don't want in life. Um, the sacred oil that was channeled to me is called pata. And in the ancient language of the Kemetic people, the origins of what is now called Egypt, but originally was called Kemet, land of the dark or burnt people, the understanding was that Ptah was the guardian of the crafts people. That's how important, that's how much they understood the power of that second chakra. Well, if nothing else, that's, where we're conceiving, where, we give birth to children. And, but metaphysically, we're also creating our life experiences. And we're doing that by thought, but also by feeling. There's no saying as well in the metaphysical world, in the world of learning about the chakras, that as above, so below. In other words, these two are supposed to be balanced out. What we're thinking on high is going to be manifested in what we're experiencing on low, which means basically an earthly experience. So the idea is that we want to keep that chakra in balance. It's open, as I just shared last week. If you're listening to this type of information, your chakras are already open. However, are they balanced? Is your life reflecting a harmonious life, a balanced life? If you feel that, like listening to a woman today in conversation, was saying that she's constantly looking for peace, but you're not going to find the peace outside in the world, because it's not the nature of the world. We find the peace within. You're not going to find your place of creativity. Your creativity is going to be reflected in the outer world. So if you're connected with that inner spirit, then you're going to allow yourself to manifest what you want to experience in life. So this is what I like. If I'm finding that I'm having days where nothing is going right in my life, if I'm finding days where I'm not feeling well, my first thought, to be honest with you, when I'm not physically feeling well, is what did I eat? I go there first. And then if no answer comes to that, then I ask myself, what am I feeling? What am I thinking? What do I need to think in order to create a more positive experience in my life? And that is utilizing that second chakra in a positive way. Most of the time, last week we were talking about the power of the spoken word. Most of the time, no, I won't say most of the time, many times we use the power of the spoken word to create what we don't want. There's no way I'm going to get a parking space, or, I'm going to be poor all my life, or the world is going to hell, or in a handbasket, or whatever they're saying. Why not turn that energy around and use that natural creative process, that natural creative energy within you, that divine nature, to manifest what you do want, even when the world looks like something else? There's an old saying, every day in every way, I'm getting better, better, and better. I use that a lot. If I'm feeling the world's stuff, and rather than sit there and stew in that, I'm going to create a different experience. So I change my thoughts, I change my feelings, and I change my words. And oftentimes I'll start with the words. I'll start saying what it is that I want to manifest, because the creative center, the second chakra, that's what you're doing. You're manifesting.
I go back to what I always say a lot of times, and it's you have to sometimes slow down, okay?
Yeah.
Slow down
Yeah.
to speed up. All right. Okay. You got to slow down to speed up. Okay. You got to plan. You've got to, you want to be able to always take a step back just to make a new plan. And, there's plan A, plan B, plan C. Most of the time I'm a plan A guy, and it's all or none for me. And so, this is what this is about. And so now You know, I know people are always at, how do I unbalance my chakras, my chakra? Now, is it, do we do it one at a time, or does it all happen at once? I mean, could
Yeah.
you explain that?
How are you living your life? How you're living your life is going to, I'm getting, okay, how you are living your life is going to be reflected in what's going on in your world. And if you're not living your life in a balanced way, it's going to affect basically all of your chakras. I created a 28-day chakra balancing program. I did that for the very question that you asked. What can I do to help put all of my chakras in balance? I also, as we talked about, channeled a set of essential oil blends that, using the olfactory nerve, the sense of smell, connected to the sense of memory, that help us to remember who and whose we really are. The world is constantly telling us something else. The world is constantly telling us what to be fearful, to feel limited, etc., etc. But when you connect, when you take that time, when you live in your true self, the truth of who and whose you are, then the world's going to reflect that. So the way I do it, I use the essential oil. One of my favorites is sacred love oil, because I interact with people all the time and helps me to keep my heart chakra balanced. A lot that continues to be one of the most popular oils because people need it. They need it when they're on their jobs or on the bus or whatever, to help them keep that center, keep that chakra centered or in balance. When they are finding out that they're just tapping in too much anger or too much frustration or some of these other emotions, they need to bring the energy back, reconnect. You know, I don't know if you know this or not, but the word yoga itself has actually 17 different meanings. But the most popular one is union, but the most accurate one is the idea of harnessing. That is harnessing the emotions. Don't allow the emotions to take control of your life by reminding yourself who and whose you really are. Do that through meditation, through deep breathing. The ancient Egyptians said, Adi Ankaka, breath is the life of the soul. When you're walking, and we put the earphones on and we listen to music, or we're listening to someone speaking, make sure what you're listening to is empowering you in a positive way. Therefore, you're going to continue to manifest a balanced life. It's not any, well, there are specific things that we can participate daily. Again, watching our language, watching our thinking, especially our thinking. If it helps at all, many years ago, I went through a period of depression many years ago. I could go out in my yoga studio, I could teach a great class, but in my own personal life, things weren't so good. And part of it was I kept waiting for something outside of myself to bring me a sense of peace and harmony. I kept waiting. And then finally, and this went on for a couple of years, 2 or 3 years. I mean, it was not fun at all. And I got one of those inner messages that that which I was seeking, I already am. I think I shared that last week. That was a big help for me because I kept looking for something outside or someone outside of myself. We'll do that when we're looking, we just had Valentine's Day, and folks are thinking a lot of times whether their Valentine's Day was a good one or a bad one, depending upon the relationships that they have in their life. If they have someone in their life, or if the person that's in their life is not, doing what it is that we want them to do. How about directing that energy to self? How about tapping into that creative, that loving, creative being, and allow the harmony to take place in your life?
Not to change the subject, I want to add on to the Valentine's Day, which I did a talk on Monday. Okay.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And I did address that part of that. Valentine's Day is also a setup. It's like,
Yeah, true.
it's a setup to, they go, oh, you're supposed to buy gifts. You're supposed to, you're supposed to be in a relationship. Okay. I call that day Happy Love Day. I do not call it Valentine's Day.
Nice.
Actually, in the third century, two persons were killed named Valentine. They were executed. And so this is where they came. I don't know. The Gregorian calendar came out in the 1500s, and they made this also. Now, also, I want to talk about myself. Also, when you brought up depression, okay, I'm not kidding you. I had mine too. It was years ago, on and off for like 16 years. I'm not kidding.
Okay.
I know the day it started, and the day it ended. And the day it ended was by a thought.
Yeah.
You are what you think about. Thought, breath, action.
Right.
This thought, you create this right in here. That's why what you think about, calling yourself names. Do not call yourself stupid. Do you not call yourself a loser? Because it starts without you speaking it. It starts in the mind.
That's right.
So let me just say, what I changed in the sense of the thought of what the issue was. I always lived for what people thought about me. It took me so many years. Okay. And then the one thought like that. And then I turned into the man. My thoughts. I became the champion of my thoughts. Okay. Every negative thought, that is now. I am king of my thought. And that's what we are here for you to. It all starts with what you think about. Hey, Heru just said it. You are what you think about it. Now, here we're going into the purpose of the chakra is creativity. Now, when this is where I'm just saying this, Heru, this is where everybody is stuck right now. They're stuck with no purpose. Okay. And, you and I go all the way back to the Vietnam War. Okay.
True.
When our country, I was, I'm like 10 years old. I'm growing up, and I almost got drafted in 1975, but it ended in April of 1975. And my birthday was in May. Thank heavens I'm a Gemini. See, it actually worked out for me, So I didn't have to go into the draft. So when you, and I don't see if I'm getting off the subject here, but Het-Heru, where, as you see it, let's just go back to the Vietnam War, where the whole, our whole country, we had the draft, and it was just all our
it's difficult times.
People, we're getting killed out there. So, in a way, these times kind of almost remind me of that, but only it's on, this great division of, the vaccination. And, I can't even say it, by the way, because I can get flagged. All right.
Yeah, I understand.
So, just comment on kind of where it was and where we're at now. What do you think is the difference, and why is it so important to get this creativity?
Let me go back to understand, everyone, that the planet itself has a process. Any of us who have studied the esoteric sciences, because, thank God the ancestors knew about this time, just like they knew about the time of the Vietnam War. And that the planet itself is moving toward becoming sacred. And we have chosen, because life is, always has been, always shall be. I do not believe in death. I believe in transition. I believe in change, but death, something ends, but something new begins. So with regards, I remember that Vietnam War. I remember the mess that it was and what we did in order to deal with it. But then it changed. And it's the same process that we're doing now. is that it all looks screwy and scary and but here's your time to take back your power. And how do you do that? You do that by knowing the truth of who and whose you really are. How do you know that truth? You learn to get quiet. You learn to become one with that energy, that being, that consciousness that's within you. As it, you know, George Washington Carver was asked one time, how in the world did you come up with so many ideas for the peanut? And he answered, Madam, when you love something long enough and hard enough, it whispers its secrets to you. Instead of getting caught up in this constant stuff that's going on in the world, learn to get quiet. Last week I shared the idea of focusing on a candle flame and then closing your eyes to see if you can still see the candle flame. And you continue to do that until you can actually just close your eyes and see the flame. That'll help you to slow down your mental process. Also understand that most of what we've learned behooves us to unlearn it. Okay, we do that through meditation. We do that through deep breathing. We do that by reading information of higher consciousness. I wanted to share also something that brings to me this together about the second chakra. I said, as above, so below, and the power of creating and the connection with what we think. So you have the second chakra, the navel chakra, and then you have this area here, which is called the third eye. And this is where we're, you know, the thoughts that we're focusing, the thoughts that we're manifesting, and how it has the influence of manifesting through our creative chakra, manifesting the experiences that we have. So use your higher self, connect with your higher being, not with, I don't want you to think that you're not to participate in the earthly things. In a few hours, I'll go out with my friends and we'll dance. I love dancing. I've danced all my life. The dance, we listen to what they call the cover bands because I'm a rhythmic dancer. One time I thought I was going to be a professional dancer. I got into yoga instead. My approach to doing and teaching yoga was as a dancer. Instead of listening to music, I used the rhythm of the breath. Get into something that helps you to align with your higher self. Put that into the world in which you live. Remember that what you're thinking and speaking is manifesting in your world. So back to the idea, yes, I agree with you. We're going through a similar process. But I also remember well that after that Vietnam experience, things began to change a lot. And they changed to me in a more empowering way. We took a lot of that fantasy about war. It was over here, over there, et cetera, et cetera. We're looking at the movies from, World War II and how successful the U.S. was with this. And then we have this Vietnam War, which showed more of a realistic understanding of what really is. It truly is hell. And so it helped us to ground it more, put it in a more realistic understanding. And the draft doesn't work because people behind the Vietnam War saw more of what it truly is.
Yeah, because if people recall, that was the first war that was actually on TV.
Yeah.
And they would have these films, reporters out there, this wasn't going on in World War II and all that. So that all they did do reels that you saw when you went to the movie because people, television was just coming into it. And so this is what made it so real. And we're now in what I call social media overload.
That's true.
Where, your social media skills, some people are just doing some crazy stuff out there. Some people are putting it to good, but to me, it's like, a bowl of spaghetti, everything's connected, it's all one, but it's just just a bunch of knots here.
You've heard every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. The pendulum swings. The pendulum swings to one extreme, and then it swings to the other extreme, and then it goes back and forth and back until we find the middle. And that's eventually going to take place, just as it did many years ago. It's where social media extreme is going to go to the opposite, and then eventually it'll come and be balanced for us. But but instead of living in the eventual, live now. And find your your better self, your higher self, your divine self. Remember, that's what this is all about, is for us now knowing ourselves as the infinite made definite.
Living in the now, excuse me, it's just, no, it's not me, because I live in the now. I have tools that I always practice. How do you think this is all going to turn out where we're at? Because, there's always these, remember, it's always rumors of war. All this stuff is just going on right now. Like, we're supposed to go to Russia, we're going to invade here. I know, it's not about giving the answer of us going to Russia. It's just more of the individual. How do we live in the day? And now, I've just had, even yesterday I had extremes happen to me. Somebody being rejected, and then somebody completely rejecting me. Okay. And so, it was like a teeter-totter, even in its own way. But for myself, I'm able to stay in the neutral. Okay. And that's where, staying in the neutral, again, it's about slowing down to speed up. If you're coming around a curve, and you were going 80 miles an hour, well, then you should slow down. And you're going around the curve. Okay. So in the meditation sense, I know you talked about the candle. Okay. The candle. Okay. So for me, whenever I talk to somebody, I ask them, do you love yourself? And maybe they'll say, yeah, I think so. I go, okay, could you go look in the mirror and say it 100 times?
Which is a good thing to do.
Which is a good thing to do. This was also, I've said this to other people. There's, well, how are you? Okay, well, I looked in the mirror one day and said it 1,000 times. Okay. And now I only have to say it maybe a few, right? Because my cup is already ready to, it's filled up and it's going to run it over. So is there any affirmations, like an affirmation just for the beginner, just to start?
Yeah, if you're with each oil, they also channeled an affirmation with the oils. So for the second chakra, I am co-creator with the infinite source of the universe. I remind that way it helps to open up that, not open up, but to loosen up that chakra, help to bring the balance back, to be reminded, hey, it's not what we call God or light or truth or whatever name you want to give out there. And here we are here, and we're separated. We are that divine. We are the infinite. I am that I am. Also, sometimes a couple of years ago, I would watch a favorite cable news, and I, for the most part, I was not a person that listened to the news, but there was so much going on, and I was concerned about some things that were happening, and so I would watch daily this news program. And now things have changed a little, and I feel calmer about certain things. And I also find that my need to watch this news program is limited now, much limited. I might look just long enough just to see what's going on. And most of the time it's the same stuff that's been going on forever and ever and ever. And so instead of looking at that, I might look at the Disney Channel or something, whatever, Hallmark or something, because I can look at that and not see it doesn't seem real to me. It just seems something that has switched my thoughts from one thing to another. If one of the affirmations. I begin my day with an affirmation. I want to put it out into the universe who I am and what I want to experience. And so I say, this is the day that God has made, and I shall rejoice. And I say it in a way that my being resonates to this. I shall rejoice and be glad in it. And then I take the time to thank the infinite source for all my many blessings. I have the blessing of health. And if I'm having issues with health, then I say, and thank you for healing my body right now. Thank you for healing my spirit. I am grateful for my health from the top of my head down to the tips of my toes. I'm grateful for loving family and loving friends, new and old. I'm grateful for joy, for the joy of the Lord is my strength. I say this because the world's not going to give this to me. I have to give it to me. I'm grateful for beauty, the beauty that's within me, the beauty that extends from me to others, the beauty that surrounds me. I'm grateful for peace, peace of mind, and harmony, harmonious relationships. I am grateful for success, that I am achieving that which I'm setting out to do. And I'm grateful for prosperity, for I truly live a prosperous life. And then I say, thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to vibrate. I want my whole being to vibrate in that energy instead of all the things that I feel are going wrong, because all that's going to do is continue to manifest that, back to the second chakra, to manifest those experiences in my life.
And notice she said, give. I give myself. When I start off the day, you already give yourself a gift. You already give it. For me, when I wake up, I'm like, hello, mother. Give me your wisdom.
Okay.
Give me your wisdom.
That's right.
What do you want me to talk about? Okay. We all have our connection to our divine. She's my divine, Sophia. And so it's like, let's go, baby. Okay. I will say, and I know that it's not just me, there are times when you wake up and you're like, wow, you could feel the vibration of this world. And I'm sure Het-Heru is one of those.
Sure.
You can literally feel the weight of the world. And if you're not balanced, okay, and I'm sure you can speak on this, if you're not balanced, then the weight of the world gets to you.
That's
But if
true.
you're balanced,
That's true.
it's right there, and you're walking as if you have no weight on you. Now,
Yeah.
thoughts are weight, ladies and gentlemen, weight. Some weigh more than others. If you are calling yourself names, if you're saying to yourself that you're stupid, you're a loser, okay? How many, and if one person says it to you, then you get all angry. But have you forgiven yourself? Somebody can say it to you once, but how many times have you said it to yourself? This
True.
is about being an adult of your thought. You are what you think about and what you continually on. And so Het-Heru just put it so great on saying, some will call that a prayer. Some will call it an affirmation. Some will call it a command. Someone will, it's who you are and what works for you. This is why I have different perspectives for the show. So that everyone, we're trying to cover everybody. And we haven't even talked about astrology. That's another thing that she's good at. And I want to talk about.
But I'm not an astrologer. But I do have some knowledge of it.
Yes. Okay. But I mean, that's, I'm not.
Okay.
I don't,
Okay.
I just know about the signs,
Right.
You see what I mean? So breathing. Okay. So let's go there here. All right. So Het-Heru, everybody breathe. Yo, what do you mean breath, man? I breathe every day, man. Okay. So talk a little bit about breath. Just
the word spirit comes from a Latin root that means spiritus, which means breath. The ancient Egyptians said Adi Ankha, breath is the life of the soul. In yoga, we learn how to breathe from the back of the throat, the pharyngeal area. We learn how to utilize the whole lung capacity. The same gentleman that was with the Bolshoi Ballet Company that I mentioned earlier, and some of the incredible things that I saw, because like I said, I studied ballet, not to the extent that he did, because he had been dancing all of his life. But when they would do these incredible leaps, they had, as he told me, he says, I have to gather as much breath as I possibly can. We learn in yoga, we understand, in fact, we have a whole part of that 8-step system of Hatha Yoga is called pranayama, which is the power of the breath. And the early yogis of India spent a part of their training, their serious training, learning how to use the breath in a way that allowed them to open the chakras. Now, when I met Indra Devi, one of the things that she emphasized in her training was that we should avoid those serious breathing exercises that were given to awaken the Kundalini through the power of the breath, because it was dangerous, mainly being that we didn't live the life in order to open those chakras in such a fierceful way. She really discouraged us as students and discouraged us even more so as teachers. So I never learned that. But it wasn't, that's again a part of the Piscean age. In the Aquarian age, it truly is about consciousness. And so when you understand the power of the breath, I'll give you an example. One of my students, I hadn't seen her. She was a regular. She was an entertainer, singer. Hadn't seen her for a while. And when she did finally reappear, she said, I have to tell you what happened to me. I was performing a gig in some city. It's been so many years ago, I don't recall exactly where it was, but she had to go to another city in order to perform. And unfortunately, a bigger car sideswiped her car and it rolled over. And she said the first thing she heard, she could hear me say to her, use your deep breathing, use your deep breathing. And she immediately started using her yogic deep breathing. The ambulance came, they got her out of the car. They were amazed, or away from the car, they were amazed that she hadn't gone into shock. And the reason being, she feels, was because of the deep breathing. When we learn how to breathe properly, not shallow breathing, someone says you take a deep breath and all you do is, it's not yogic deep breathing. But when we learn how to breathe deeply, the brain itself needs 3 times more oxygen than any other part of the body. So we learn how to feed the blood, and we learn how to feed the brain as well. And we also, it's a natural tranquilizer. So it's very important to learn. And maybe, I don't know if you want to do it today, but sometime, perhaps, Michael, I'll be more than happy to part of the, to explain to people how to breathe properly the yogic way.
Well, sure. I think a lot of people would like to do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
something that we'd like to do. Now, I want to add to that.
Okay.
When this lady started doing her breathing, and what breathing does, it brings you back into the moment.
Yeah,
Puts you
exactly.
in the moment. See, most of us, we're not living in the moment. We're living in the past. We're living in the future. When there's nothing you can do about either one except the moment. The moment takes care of it all.
Right.
The moment takes.
That's true. And it takes practice to do that. That's not, I want folks to understand all this stuff takes practice. It's not something you necessarily do overnight, but it's worth it. It's worth it because then you can live in the kind of world that we're living in now without the fear, because you are projecting into the future of what might happen. Move into the present and experience what is happening.
And that's, and I agree. It takes, when I tell young people, well, all this can take years. Okay. And everyone wants it in 3 minutes.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah,
If you
doesn't work that way.
do the work, if you're not prepared to do the work, okay, it's always funny because everybody is like always, what's the word? I can't even describe it. It's just more like everybody just wants to move fast. Okay. And the next thing you know, you're just standing in the same place. You're in the same place. So it's this part of you to slow down. What is breath? Breath, to do your breath, you have to what? have to slow down. You have to sit still.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know, this is what we're talking about is real food. This is junk food.
Yeah.
Okay. This is making it from scratch, you know, and sometimes, which I did, I had to start from scratch. I started from scratch again at 50 years old.
That's right.
I started from scratch again last year when I started this show.
Mhm.
And it's about investing in yourself and risking. No risk it, no biscuit.
I hadn't heard that before. I like that.
If you really, really want this for your life, where you can live in the moment,
Yeah.
where you can have peace within, I'd rather have peace than be happy, because happiness is fleeting. Peace
That's true.
in.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
Yeah.
certain things are up and down, money's up and down, happiness is up and down, but peace can always remain. It can always remain. So what else I want to talk about here? Okay, so all right, so now we're going back to the second chakra.
Yeah.
Okay, and listen, this is all good. Everything we're talking about, I love it. Okay, so
Right.
go ahead. You want something? You want to comment?
But what I was going to say, what I want people to understand is that, yeah, we'll go in and out of subjects, but it's all about creativity. What are you manifesting? What are you creating in your life? What are you saying? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What are you doing? It's all about creativity. It's not about focusing on one chakra and just that's it. No, that's not who we are. We are a multi-dimensional being. We vibrate and live in several dimensions. That's why I said I don't believe in death. I believe in transition. When I'm explaining the idea of death to folks, why I don't believe in it, I use the example. I'll put it this way. You have a fan. There are blades in the fan. The fan is off, so you see the blades. You turn the fan on, the blades begin to move faster and faster and faster. You don't see the blades anymore, but you feel the presence of it. And that's what happens with this experience we call death. It's transition. We move into a faster frequency, vibratory frequency, and continue life.
Well, I have another one here. I tell people, and some of them are acting like bird brains. You don't know what's in there. Okay. And, at the same time, I always say this expression to them. Now, look,
Yeah.
you can lie to me. Okay. You can lie to me, but don't lie to yourself. Okay. It is all about, because what is it going to do? It's just going to wear you out. Okay. All right. I mean, and there's no solution from the president. He ain't going to do it. He just says, come on, man. Come on. Okay. Come on, man. Get with it.
Yeah, we have to work together. That's true.
We got to work. We have to work together. And let's see, what else do we read?
Well, you know what? By the way, that example you just gave, that's a perfect example of the difference between the Piscean age and the Aquarian age. We cannot rely on one person to make it all better for us. It's just not the world in which we live. We have to collectively make happen what we want to happen in a positive way,
Right. And so the pressure is, I don't want to call it pressure, because, all of us, we're all under pressure to even get up every day, and we have blood pressure. Okay. So pressure is part of the equation, and people don't know themselves until they're under pressure. See, it's the ones who, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Okay. Part of this thing is where I wanted to talk about, just add to death. Death is nothing but a transition. Okay. I never say they died. I always say they passed on.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know there's people out there who absolutely don't believe you're a spirit. Now, just like you have an arm, you have a spirit, whether or not you want to believe it or not. It's not, I'm not the one who invented that saying.
Right.
It's absolutely true. I mean, Het-Heru and I, we both communicate on the other side.
Sure.
So believe me. And, I can't let you come into my brain and Het-Heru's brain and go, hey, you're right. It's okay. Or inside our spirit. Okay. And so I know I'm not trying to talk over everybody's head, but I know this is a reason why we're here. We're here together to share this, the experiences.
Right. We want to help. We want to help. We want to take our collective life experiences and what we've learned how to deal with the certain experiences in life and share it. We're all the brotherhood and sisterhood and motherhood and fatherhood of mankind. And so that's why I continue to do what I do. I have been on a path the majority of my life. I started when I was 19. And so here it is 50 plus years later, and I've learned some things and I've shared some things. And these that I've shared have seemed to help others. And that makes me feel good. And I'll continue. I don't force anything on anyone. If you want to know, I will share it. When I read for people, because I do readings as well, I'll hear information from the other side to share with that person, or I will see someone. I'm more audio, I'm Chihuahua. And sorry, I thought I turned that on. Anyway, that I'll hear information to share, or I'll see images of someone, and I'll say, well, who is that person? Because it is another vibration that I'm able to tap into. People who are more visual in their psychic energy, they're seeing faster. Those of us who are clairaudient, we're hearing faster.
We haven't even talked even more about your essential oils. I have used Het-Heru's oils for 15 years, and just briefly how I discovered her oils at the Living Temple in Huntington Beach. Shout out to the Living Temple in Huntington Beach. Robin Jones, and I have been hooked on those essential oils. Okay, I believe when I transition, I'm going to be smelling her essential oil.
I love it.
Okay, that's how sacred. I've gotten more compliments on Het-Heru's sacred oils. We're going to talk more about it. We're coming to the top of the hour here. Just your final thoughts, that you want to share and leave with all our people here for the week and where we're going to be at next week.
Okay. Don't give up, folks. This is a process, and we have chosen to be a part of the process. So the more each of us works at finding that peace and harmony, of reconnecting with that creative center in a harmonious way, the more the world is going to reflect that. But just hang tight. This too shall change, and it too will get better. If not for us, but in the generations that are coming up. Also, walk your truth. Okay, don't just speak it. Walk it. If someone is doing something that you don't like, bless them and release them, and remove yourself out of the energy. Remember the power of the word, and remember what you think is what you create. And so think the thoughts of the things that you want to experience. And also, most importantly, probably one of the greatest messages that have made changes in my life is learn to live by faith and not by sight.
Talk the talk and walk the walk, baby. Okay. Otherwise, don't talk.
Yeah,
but when you speak it out, baby, you better walk that walk.
That's right.
You got to talk that talk and you got to walk that walk. But the talk is in here first. Okay. Now, sometimes you have to speak it out. But again, quiet your thoughts so you can be focused. This is why I'm always talking about being an adult of your thought. Being an adult of your mind means that you're the one who's in control. Okay. No, you're the one who's in, that has your soul. Okay. Be bold. Don't go cold. Okay. So, what a great show, Het-Heru. Thank you so much.
My pleasure, Michael.
We're going to be back next week. We have so many plans that we want to share with you. Now, just to let you know, you're looking at that way. No, this way. This
So
way. Yes.
looking like
See
this way or this way?
Okay, you see this first thing?
Yeah.
Remember, we're people of color.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We haven't talked. We don't talk. We don't talk about. We don't have to talk about racism. Okay.
Yeah.
It's about.
Yeah.
It's not that we didn't go through it. Okay.
And continue to go through it.
And
So,
continue to go through it, right?
sure.
But as you can see, that's not what stops you.
Oh, hell no.
You.
Oh, no. No.
Okay.
I am that I am.
I am
Okay.
that I am. I am that I am. That's all that I am.
He's fun, everybody. I love working with him because he's a lot of fun.
So thank you so much, Het-Heru.
My
I
pleasure,
really appreciate you. We'll be back next week. I think we're going to go live next week. So we'll announce that time and we'll get everybody on there. But thank you so much.
And we're working on the third chakra, which is for peace and tranquility. So I'll be able to share some things that'll help you to connect with that and balance that chakra on peace and tranquility.
Excellent. Everything's going according to my plan. Thank you so much, Het-Heru, and we'll see you. We'll see you next week. Okay.
Love and blessings, everyone.
Bye-bye. All right. Get me in here. Okay. Well, that was a great show, wasn't it? I mean, listen, you don't get that kind of education from someone like her every day, right? So now where are you going to be? What are you thinking about? How does this affect you? And what can you possibly learn from it? One thought at a time about maybe it's just to be open. Just to be open. Maybe it's, I'm going to be calmer today. I'm going to actually slow down today and organize my thoughts. And perhaps you need to write them. One of the things that happened to me when I started this show, it made me start writing. Maybe you ought to write your life story. Maybe you ought to start that first chapter on where you began, where you're at now. So you can go back. When you write it in your hand, I just want you to know, it's totally different than when you're using a keyboard. Writing. I think this is a forgotten loss here, is people writing. I literally had to learn how to write again. I cannot believe this is one of the many blessings that I get from doing this show and just meeting incredible people that I want to bring to you. If you want to come on the show, you have something to say, please come on the show. And then also leave a comment and please subscribe to my channel. And listen, there's a couple of videos here that you can watch. And I'm going to put the first show of Het-Heru in here. So you want to check her out here on the other one. Listen, love you. Thank you so much, Het-Heru, one more time for coming. And we're looking forward to having you again.